How deep is the ocean? Let's find out. First, at 3 meters, we reach the depth where people normally swim. Going deeper, at 20 to 30 meters, we find coral reefs and some sea plants. Continuing down to 40 meters. This is the limit for recreational diving. Beyond this depth, people may experience joint pain and dizziness, similar to altitude sickness. Interestingly, these symptoms occur both when ascending to high altitudes and descending to great depth. Perhaps the nature's way of telling us not to go there. The world's deepest swimming pool is almost 40 meters deep, located in a hotel in Italy, designed specifically for diving enthusiasts. At 70 meters, people may begin to experience hallucinations. This is also where the world's largest fish, the whale shark, is commonly found. At 100 meters, we reach the limit for professional diving. Here lives the North Pacific giant octopus, which can change color like a chameleon and grow up to 6 meters long, often mistaken for sea monsters by fishermen. At 130 meters, the deepest underwater wedding was held in 2014. A Japanese and an American, both professional divers, held their wedding in Thailand at this depth, with the priest diving down to officiate. Descending to 200 meters, we enter the deep sea. Below this depth, sunlight is insufficient, so green plants are scarce. However, a fish known as the ribbonfish can be found here. Free diving, an extreme sport, involves diving as deep as possible on a single breath. The world record is held by an Austrian named Herbert, who reached 214 meters in 2007. Normally, this is impossible because beyond 100 meters, hallucinations occur and water pressure can compress organs and cause permanent lung damage. However, Herbert used the pressure techniques to avoid the lung collapse, allowing him to reach this depth. At 300 meters, we encounter the giant spider crab, a delicacy for many. Its legs can span up to 4 meters when fully extended. Humans have also reached this depth with equipment. The record for assisted diving is 332 meters, set by an Egyptian named Ahmed Gabr. In 2014, he intended to reach 350 meters but lost consciousness at 332 meters due to hallucinations. His descent took 15 minutes, but his ascent took almost 14 hours to avoid depression sickness, which could cause fatal gas bubbles in the blood. At around 500 meters, we leave the human realm and enter the animal world. The blue whale, the largest animal on Earth, can dive to this depth. Its calls can reach 188 decibels, louder than a fighter jet, and can be heard by other whales up to 1,600 kilometers. Surprisingly, emperor penguins, the largest penguin species, can also dive to over 500 meters and stay there for up to 10 minutes, making them the most pressure-resistant birds. Alright, continue our descent to 600 meters. Here we find a fish called berry eye. Its eyes point upwards. It can't look forward, only up. This fish can't be brought to the surface. It would explode if retrieved. Descending further to 700 meters. This is where European eels live. Many people enjoy eel rice, right? Actually, eels spend half their lives in the ocean. They return to the rivers to spawn, which is when we catch and eat them. At 900 meters, we encounter the giant squid. It can be over 10 meters long, with eyes as big as a human head. Reaching 1,000 meters deep, there's absolutely no light, complete darkness. From this depth onward, marine life becomes increasingly scarce. At 1,300 meters, we find the largest species of sea turtle, the leatherback sea turtle. This depth is also home to a fearsome shark known as the goblin shark. Its jaws is separate from its mouth, its jaw extends to snap up prey before retracting, almost like the creatures from Alien. Being bitten by it may not kill you by the bite itself, but by the sheer fright. Descending to 1,700 meters, we encounter the southern elephant sea, the largest sea species. They have notably large noses, with weights reaching up to 5 tons and lengths of near 7 meters in adults. At 2,000 meters, things get scary. This depth is inhabited by the dragonfish, a truly alien-look fish. It has a bubble acting like a lure to attract prey, which it then ambushes and devours from the darkness. At 3,000 meters, we enter the abyssal zone. Here, water temperatures range from 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. There's total darkness. The pressure exceeds 300 atmospheres. Fish are rare at this depth, but one massive creature found here is sperm whale. Of course, a mammal, not a fish. Sperm whales dive this deep to hunt giant squid, which they love to eat. They can hold their breath for over an hour, allowing them to hunt numerous squid in one dive. We know giant squids are plentiful because sperm whales' stomachs often contain undigested squid beaks, the only hard part of the squid. Globally, sperm whales consume an estimated 5 million giant squid annually. The name sperm whale comes from a waxy substance called spermaceti found in their heads, which was historically used in perfumes and medicines. At 3,800 meters rests the RMS Titanic, which sank in 1912 along with Jack. Over 100 years later, the wreck remains on the seabed, though director James Cameron has visited the site 33 times. At 4,000 meters, we find the fan-toothed fish with its long teeth in the deep sea, where food is scarce. Once prey is caught, it can be allowed to escape, hence the impressive teeth. Descending to 6,000 meters, Japan's submarine reached 6,500 meters in 1989, and China's submarine reached 7,000 meters in 2012. At 8,178 meters, we find the deepest recorded depth for fish. In April 2017, a Chinese deep-sea exploration team discovered a whitefish at around 8,150 meters. At 10,660 meters, a giant single cell was found. These organisms can reach up to 20 centimeters in length and resemble leaves. Billions of years ago, single-celled organisms might have been this large. Now let's explore the deepest part of the ocean, the Mariana Trench. Its deepest point, the Challenger Deep, reaches 11,034 meters. This depth was first measured in the 1950s using explosives. Sound waves from bombs were analyzed to determine the trench's profound depth. To date, only 4 people have reached this depth, fewer than the number of people who walk on the moon. The first two, Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard, descended to 10,916 meters in 1960. Their dive took 5 hours, but upon noticing a crack in their vessel, they ascended quickly. They reported seeing flatfish and shrimp at the bottom. The next descent was in 2012 by filmmaker James Cameron, funded by National Geographic and Rolex. He spent over 2 hours at the bottom, describing it as barren as the moon, with only shrimp-like creatures about 3 meters long visible. The most recent visitor is Victor, an American private equity investor and undersea explorer, who reached the depth in April and May 2019. Exploring this trench greatly aided our understanding of the universe and the limits of life. We now know life can exist without light, so searching for life beyond star system is plausible. However, water seems essential. 94% of Earth life is aquatic, making terrestrial life, like human being, relatively rare. Even we land dependents needs water to survive. No known organism can live without water, though some microbes can enter a state of suspended animation. ceasing all metabolic activity, reviving instantly with a drop of water. This raises a fascinating possibility. If moon's barren rocks were sprinkled with water, could they come to life too? Perhaps not with the ordinary water, but with the legendary water of life.